really easy. But it requires a paid Zoom account in order to do so.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah. So it's fairly easy. Like once you start to broadcast, there's 3 little buttons there at the right hand side. You click on that, and it's like,
so
go
I'm
live.
Overthinking this. Like I could be doing my classes live in my Facebook groups.
Yes. It's
so you like as long life, Sean.
as long as you have a paid account, like
gosh,
done.
You just made me the happiest person ever.
And so like, and so
Amanda,
like
when Amanda gets on, be like, get ready, Amanda. We're doing Facebook Live classes,
boom,
baby.
Boom. There you go.
Cats and all.
And if you have any issues with it, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. So it's right next to reactions. There's this little like 3 buttons more. Really? Just click on more, and then it says, you could go to Facebook, you go to YouTube. It gives you like these different options. And then when you click on your Facebook, then it's like, do you want to go live, on your wall? Do you want to go live? Like, where do you want to go live? And you just type in, your group, which, I don't do anything live on my Facebook wall because I want to give people value that are in this group.
Right, in the group. So, exactly. Yep. That's my thing too. Yeah, my personal page is my personal page.
There we go. So, but yeah, we are definitely live. We are.
I pulled it up because I wanted to see myself on Facebook too. I was like, wait, let me see how terrible this is. Like, is this like crazy?
Nah, not terrible at all. Okay. So let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's see. Let's see if we got anybody in here real quick. So Selena has joined us. Who else do we got? Let's see. Yes. Oh, someone. Yes, we're live right now. Let me just.
Hopefully my internet will stay good for you. I live in the boonies.
Oh, well, it looks like we got a strong signal right now. So.
Woohoo!
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let me make sure. I think. Okay, so we got Dalton on the line. We got Selena on here. Can you guys hear me? So it says Kathy. So here we go. Kathy, or is she calling them out? So Selena is calling people out. She's tagging people. She's tagging Joe. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Cool. So can you guys got to give me a lot of love for Angel joining us today. We got an amazing episode.
I can't see the love because if I turn it on, it'll echo. So you'll have to.
Yeah, just start flooding the hearts, guys. You guys have got to give us a heart waterfall for this one. So we're going to dive in, guys. I've got my little notes here, but let me introduce you guys to Angel Brazeal. Like, this girl has accomplished so much, and we're going to dive into all this stuff. But back in 2006, she left an abusive relationship. She has 2 kids, and at that time, they were ages 4 and ages 2. That's James and Alora, right?
Right.
And correct. So ages 4 and 2, and whenever she started her fitness journey back in 2006, again, leaving an abusive relationship. She was 200 pounds at the time. 0 self-esteem, basically wanted to get into fitness, wanted to get into working out to build her confidence and build strength so that she could take care of her kids. Fast forward, and during that process, by the way, guys, she lost 60 pounds. Fast forward to 2014, her oldest child, James, started getting a lot of medical issues, a lot of medical problems. And so Angel was really taking care of him. And so 2 years later, she ended up losing her job because she was taking so much time to take care of James. So fast forward on to that, she decided, she continued on with her fitness journey. She's taking care of James. She's starting up a fitness business, like all that. She competed in her first physique show in 2019, even when she already decided, like, I might quit. I might not even go through with this. But she overcame that mindset. We're going to talk about that. And competed in her first show. And today she helps women with their own battles in weight loss, domestic and sexual violence, and abuse. Oh my God, guys, you guys have better be flooding up some hearts in here. Show Angel some love, because we got a big story to dive into, it sounds like. So Angel, like, I just gave the highlights. I want to dig in. So share with us, like, in the beginning, where you were, what you were going through, why, I don't know how far you want to go into the abusive relationship or whatnot, but what was the starting point for you and that took you to where you are right now?
I mean, yeah, we'll go back, like, just briefly through that, because that is kind of the original motivation. just to get out of that mindset. So I was actually married. I was in an abusive marriage, and we were married for about 5 years, got married young, whatever the case may be. If you can imagine in your head, like when you think of verbal abuse and physical abuse, it was all of those cliche, I don't even want to say cliche, that's not the right word, but textbook relationship issues. And the reason I stayed in the relationship so long was I come from a very Christian family, and I just always had it in my head that they would be upset with me if I left him, not realizing the back of my head, that they were like, leave him, get away. So my family was really supportive, but during the marriage, I had gained the weight, of course, depression and feeling trapped and things like that. So I had gained quite a bit of weight. And so that was step one, was getting out of the marriage. And once we went through the court processes and there were protective orders in place, everything went forward from there.
Gotcha.
And I did lose weight. I started working out at home. I was just at home with the kids. So I did
Beachbody. That? Okay.
Beachbody P90X is like my thing. I love me some P90X. So that's what I did. I did P90X. That from home, that's literally all I did was P90X. And then I started getting into Body Beast and just some of the different programs. And Body Beast, I fell in love with weight training.
Nice.
And I saw how much muscle was being put on just from, I had the heaviest dumbbell I had was 15 pounds. And I put on the muscle and just fell in love with the weight training aspect. And then I started meeting all these bodybuilders and my friends that were competing. I had no idea bodybuilding was still a thing. I thought it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and it was just for guys.
It's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I saw some of my friends that were for women from school doing it and just connected with them. So kind of fast forwarding, I did what everyone does. I yo-yoed. I was up and down. Things were stressful with James. Like it's always something new. And I was still working at the bank at the time. I was in banking for like 10 years.
Okay.
And I had done really well with my fitness, but we had, I had just switched to another financial job, and this was 2014. And I gained a little bit of weight back. I was probably the same weight I was now, but I wasn't a healthier size. Like my triglycerides were going up. My doctors were like, hey, you're supposed to be the fitness girl. What's going on? And my real wake up call was when in 2014, James had a severe reaction to a medication and we had to take him to Duke. And so we were driving. They didn't even want me to go to the hospital because it was going to take too long. They said, just get him to Duke. And I had to carry him inside. At the time he was about 50 pounds, but dead weight. I mean, he was unconscious. He was barely breathing. His liver he'd gone into liver failure. So I'm trying to carry him in there, kind of like you, strong man, like you're carrying dead weight. Yeah. And I got there, the nurse grabbed him out of my arms and I almost passed out. I mean, just between the anxiety, the breathing, and then just in general, not keeping up with my fitness. So for me, that was huge because it made me realize that no one is ever going to take care of him except for me. And I have to be here. It's not optional unless I want strangers taking care of my kid.
Right.
So that was kind of the really, really big wake up call for me to do better. And I haven't stopped since. Like I've been fitness ever since that day. And everything else has just kind of been bonus. Okay. Doing this show was just something I really wanted to do for me. It really had nothing to do with anything other than that was something I wanted to do and accomplish. And I actually had 3 shows scheduled and I had to cancel all 3.
Wow.
All 3. And, but I hadn't paid for them. The first 2 I hadn't paid for, but the third one was in 2018, December. I'd actually connected with Dalton by that time.
Oh, fantastic.
On Facebook. Yeah, we had connected because I was dating someone at the time that worked at Big Golds and he knew who he was. And
nice.
So and I knew he was bodybuilding world. So I actually reached out to him. I was like, hey, I just want your feedback, honest. Like James had another massive seizure. I had already put money in. I was 4 weeks out from this show.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what should I do? And I was like, what are your thoughts? He told me to do it. He was like, do it. And I just couldn't do it. I reached out to my coach. I was like, and she said, there's no way. But the OCB and Marjorie and all them transferred all of my fees to the following June show. And that's the one I ended up doing.
Gotcha.
So
Man.
I still did it, Dalton. I just did it a little bit later than you said.
I love that. So like recapping on all this stuff, like you went through some serious mindset changes. Like,
oh, wow.
Like just going back to the beginning. And by the way, I forgot to hit record. So now I'm recording this. And so now that we'll get the recap, we'll kind of play it all over again a little bit, but it'll be here on Facebook. So you guys that are on the replay, you guys will have it here on Facebook. But
I have more people.
I swear there's always something, we're always missing something. Perfection is the enemy of good, right?
It's 2020, Sean. This is what we do.
Dude, right? So going back to the beginning though, we are, we're overweight. We have the 2 young children. We're in an abusive relationship. And already you're telling yourself, I cannot leave this relationship because, Christian family, Christian values, Christian background, everybody's going to look down on me. It's frowned upon. It's and you were just trapped in that own struggle with the inside, with that own mentality, even though that wasn't the true story. Like they're telling you to get out of this abusive relationship.
Right.
So,
right.
Like, I think that is just so powerful in itself. It's like, and this is what I teach so much about the stories that we tell ourselves. We become imprisoned by our own stories.
We do.
Without even realizing it. So the first thing for anybody to change anything about themselves positively is you first got to recognize what the stories are that you're telling yourself and how to overcome those stories.
Right. Absolutely. And I think it's important, I'm always honest with people. I don't know how much longer I would have stayed in that relationship if it wasn't for my family, because I have a really, really strong family. Okay. And great. If it hadn't been for, and my dad, especially, I'm extremely close to my dad, but I don't talk to my dad like all the time. But if I need advice, it's going to dad.
Gotcha.
And, he's just that typical, what you would think of in a father figure of just, he gives you the good advice. And the other catalyst for me was, my ex-husband actually tried to take my children. He physically tried to take them and leave the state with them.
Oh my gosh.
So that for me was, I went instantly from, I want to try to salvage something and let my kids have a father, to you are now dead to me and I will murder you. Like that is literally kind of how my mindset worked. Like you can attack me all you want, but as soon as it attacks the kids, it was a whole different ballgame. So I tell everyone, I'm like, please don't get to the extreme that my life was in before you make changes. Do it now.
I tell you, like, so this isn't just something like, this isn't just a couple squabbling. Like this is life and death, serious situations. Like,
yeah, it was very serious. Police involved, military involved, because he was in the Army. And so it was, and for even a civilian wife, like I know you understand like military, but it's definitely scary because I get interrogated too. And, he gets interrogated, but, it worked out. But yes, it was definitely a stressful time. So
I feel you on that. So how did you overcome that stress? Like, so, you leave the abusive relationship, you decide I need to get in shape. So, you started, your weight loss journey. You telling yourself, I got to build the confidence. I got to build the strength for our kids. How did you find the motivation to do it? Where did that energy come from? Where did that, like, was it something that you would just tell yourself over and over? And the reason I want you to tap into this is because there's so many people that feel like, I know I should do this. I know I need to do this, but they can't get over that hurdle of actually taking action. So can you kind of speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, honestly, I think the very initial response was rage, it was just, and a stress relief. I could have gone other routes with that. It could have been alcohol or drugs or any other form of coping, but I just happened to start working out. So
Love
it started with like a rage, and then that didn't last very long. Once I realized that it was, actually helping me feel better. And then once I started seeing the physical transformation, I started getting the confidence back.
Love
And then,
that.
yeah, when other people started seeing it and becoming supportive, that even helped even more.
Who saw it first, yourself or other people looking at you? Who saw it first?
Oh, definitely other people.
Other people always see it first.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't care how low the scale got. I was still 200 pounds. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So did that ever flip for you? Like because I hear that a lot, and where we kind of get trapped into our own bodies, like we just, even though like I've had clients that lose over 100 pounds or whatnot, but they still see themselves as that heavy person. When did it become a flip for you with that? Just kind of touch on that for me. Or did it not?
I can't pinpoint an exact time. I can tell you it wasn't until very recently.
Wow.
It was honestly probably around the time I did my competition, because I connected. My coach is Amira Spielman, who's a friend from college, or from high school, I'm sorry. And she's in the medical side of fitness too, but she also trains athletes and competitors. And one of her aspects of coaching is to always talk about the mental.
Yes.
And we go over that a lot. Sorry, I had something show up at my doors.
You're good.
I live in the country.
Dude, I feel you. We are raw and unscripted people.
I know. Sorry. So we would go over that, and it was around the time of the competition for me when I saw. We went over as we're going, she always let me know your body is going to go through these changes. They are temporary. Like, you're not going to look like this year round. Right. So don't fall in love with it, and don't also get mad at it.
Ooh, that's a great coach right there.
Yeah. So she's incredible. She's and she's my best friend, my person. But when she said that, I just really remembered that she said that. It was like, I was proud of what I accomplished, but I also had to remember that this is just a point in time. And this isn't where I'm going to be staying. This was, I achieved it. And
I love that. And you were able to let go of that.
Yeah, I actually was. Like, my off season now, COVID has got me a little more on the fluffy fit side than I had anticipated. But at the same time, I'm okay with it. It's completely and utterly fine.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because during your journey, like, and I kind of want to go into how you discovered P90X, all that stuff. But you were doing the P90X programs, like all the home-based workouts. You had 15-pound dumbbells or whatever. Like, what got you into more of the bodybuilding, the physique stuff? Like, can you just kind of go a little bit deeper into your journey, if you will, like how you got started with the P90X, where that took you into the fitness, and then we can even touch a little bit even deeper on that.
Yeah. So I actually started P90X, like we said, long time ago, like 2006 or 2007. Mm-hmm. And that was when my divorce went through, and I kind of plateaued and stopped that middle ground, like right around the time of James going to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And when I decided to go back to fitness after the hospital, I went back to P90X, and then I also went back to Body Beast. The other aspect that happened there is I reconnected with Amira, but I also connected with my friend Blake Barnes, and he was getting ready to do his first show. So he was telling me about bodybuilding, and then, Amira would tell me about bodybuilding, and I saw, of course, Body Beast and Sagi as a bodybuilder. So I started just researching. Mm-hmm. And I just connected I found out a lot of local people in my tiny little town compete. There were so many people that do it.
Nice. How important is that community to you?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I think everyone has such different experiences, but I have absolutely loved it. I've met so many people. We're still friends. We connect and we message each other. We check in on each other. So it's been great.
I love that. So
and then the other one is William. William is my fit club is what really got me to commit to it. So,
and you said Fit Club is like your first actual gym that you joined, right?
Yes. Isn't that crazy? It is the only gym to this day that I have ever worked out in.
That is amazing. Yeah, you haven't been to Mayhem yet, so
I haven't. We have been saying it for how long now? Like a
I
year,
know.
2 years?
Oh, at least, yeah. But but to make things fair, I haven't gone down that way either. So
Exactly. The road goes both ways.
that's exactly right. It always goes both ways. So let's talk about this a little bit. Like we were messaging each other about this topic. You're in the P90X, you get into the physique competitions. So did you ever have a fear of becoming big and bulky?
No.
No. Can you please, from a woman's perspective, because coming from a guy that's like, you trust me, you don't have to worry, I have the fear of big and bulky.
Yeah.
Can you kind of go into that fear that women have about, I don't want to lift, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that because I do not want to get big and bulky?
Yeah.
Can you get into that a little bit?
Definitely. So first of all, no, I never had that fear because in my mind, I had just the 15-pound dumbbell. So I was like, well, I'm not going to gain a lot of muscle with 15-pound dumbbells. Wrong. I put, so much muscle from just Body Beast and 15-pound dumbbells. And my fear was not the bulky, but my fear was also getting hurt with the barbells because I'd never done it. But as tying it back around, I'm also one of those women that I like strong. I love strong. I love strong physiques on women. And I always wanted to be strong, but I also didn't want to be, huge.
Right.
So the one thing I do, and of course my clients are mainly females, but we talk about body type a lot. It's like if you're going to put on muscle in your shoulders, you already have muscle in your shoulders. You're just going to keep adding and building. Your body's going to do what your body's going to do.
Right.
And I was like, the only way you're going to look like whatever you're trying to compare yourself to is if A, you're taking some sort of drug to get there, and B, you're working out for that goal. It's like they work out specifically. I was like, but picking up that dumbbell is not going to turn you into a muscular man.
Love that. Love that. So women do not fear the weights.
No, you need it.
And
you need the weights. The weights are essential.
Something that I hear often too is that, women will say, it's so unfair. Men have such an unfair advantage to lose weight versus women, right? Like we can just look at a weight, or we can just think. Right. So here's my little spiel that I tell them, and you can tell me if you agree with this. But I tell them, it's like, okay, men naturally have more testosterone, and men naturally have more muscle mass. So there is that unfair advantage, but how do you equal the balance? You strength train. Yeah. You put on more muscle. That in turn will help you recruit more fat burn, and you will even the playing field, right or wrong?
No, absolutely right. And the one thing that I don't think a lot of women take into account, and sometimes men too, but I know you do because I've seen you talk about it. Women have hormonal fluctuations. Mm-hmm. We know this. Use that to your advantage.
Ooh,
there are times
go into that a little bit. Yeah. So
there are times in the month during our natural cycles that we have more testosterone production, and we have more progesterone or more estrogen. It affects whether we're tired, whether we feel strong, and you can utilize that. The days that you feel tired, okay, adjust that training a little bit. Maybe don't go so heavy, so hard, but still do it. And then that week, ladies know it, that week after the period, when you are on cloud 9, you're like, yeah, I'm Shira, I'm going to go lift it. That's when you attack it. That's when you go heavy and go hard.
So it's almost like those should be the PR weeks.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. Look, I am such a nerd that I've actually tracked my different fluctuations. Like, how do I perform differently this time of the month versus this time of the month? There's a difference. There's a huge difference.
So I love that, because we just actually had this conversation in our group this past week about tracking your workouts, tracking what you're doing, tracking everything. Yeah. You mind just going into that a little bit more about why tracking is important to you, and how you like maybe the results you've gotten from that, how it helps you out? Just kind of go into that a little bit.
For me, it's definitely a focus. You can just do a workout and you're going to achieve something. It's going to be a benefit. But if you have a goal, if you're trying to get stronger, if you're trying to hit a certain target weight, if you're trying to hit a certain physique, then you have to be progressing towards that. And
Yes.
if you're not seeing changes in numbers, whether it's the weight going up or endurance or whatever measurements, it all ties together. You know, it's not just linear, it's like a bunch at one time.
Yes.
So tracking is important, definitely. Food tracking is one of my biggest things, is
Well,
making sure you're tracking primarily your calorie intake
yeah.
and, you know, your macros, but then there's also those little caveats in there too.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer in tracking, just because if I don't know, if I'm not holding myself accountable to what I've been doing, I don't know how to adjust anything. Like,
Right.
so if it's kind of like, well, I want to get stronger. Okay, well, what did you do 3 weeks ago? Well, I don't remember. And I have an absent mind, right?
Yep.
So if I don't write
Yeah.
stuff down, like I have my note
Yeah.
cards for you, like if I don't write stuff down, if I'm not
Yeah.
tracking anything, it's out of sight, it's out of mind, and there's no room for progression from there. Like
Exactly.
we can want it all we want to, but it's science.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm one of those people that some things I write down and then some things I don't. Some things like I'm weird. If I have a to-do list, making a to-do list is another chore for me. Like I don't like to do that. But I carry my phone everywhere. I will take pictures, or I will quick
yes.
note or dictate into my phone. And that's how I will also keep track and stay organized.
I
So
love
use
that.
the tools that are there.
Absolutely. I use voice notes. Like
Oh
when
yeah.
I'm doing a morning walk, I'm actually recording a video. You can't see me. I can't see myself, but I'm actually recording a video for voice notes. And then I'll actually
Yes.
upload that to my own YouTube page for future reference, because it's just
Right.
a click of a button to do that. Yeah, use what you have available to track. And it doesn't mean it's like, I'm old school, so I like the notebooks and paper. Other people like using the fitness apps. There's the voice notes, there's taking screenshots and stuff.
Right.
Like there's all kinds of ways to train, and it's just a fact of find what works for you and just do it.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. So like with your fitness journey, obviously you initially lost the 60 pounds. You're getting stronger, you're doing the bodybuilding physiques and all that, but I really want to go into how this related into real life, and I really want to go into James and his story a bit now. And
Mhm.
so like initially when you said, I got to get in shape, I have to build confidence and strength for my kids, what was that mindset? What was that focus for you? And like let's talk about like the bad days, like the days you didn't want to get out of bed, the days that you didn't want to work out. What were you thinking of? Were those the things that you were thinking of to help you just drive on, carry on? Just talk about that journey with us.
Yes, definitely. And especially early on, honestly, it still is. It's one of those, I honestly don't know if it's even a healthy mindset to have sometimes, but yeah, the days that I don't feel like it, or the days that it's just really stressful, I just flash back to, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't pick him up. He's not even that heavy. I just went back to that, or something will happen with him, or he'll laugh, he'll giggle, he'll do something. And
Right.
that's the constant that's there. And yeah, it's just in the back of my head. It, like I said, it's probably not healthy, but honestly, in a morbid way, the back of my head, it's, if I don't do this, my kid might die.
But that is so huge though. Like Eddie Hall talks about it, and this is a big mindset flip, and then this is like really discovered your why or whatnot. But when he first did the 500 kilogram deadlift, which was a world record at the time, it's since been beaten, but he was working with hypnotherapists and all these different therapists to get him into a very, very dark place in order for him to lift the weight. And he talks about that. And he hasn't said what it was, what his dark place was, but it involved his family. Yeah. And so my kind of picture is like, okay, there's a car crushing his family. He's got to flip the car off of his family. Like it was that kind of a dark place. Yeah. And so I don't think it's unhealthy so much as, what's unhealthier? Is it to have these thoughts and these visualizations so that you will show up and that you will be there? Or is it more unhealthy for you to be like, everybody's cool, everybody's taken care of. I could sit on my ass and not do a thing.
That's why I like the fitness community, because I can say that and you're like, that makes total sense. You know, if you're talking to like a random person on the street, they're like, you're kind of dark, man. Like they get really scared of it. It's like, okay.
Yeah. No,
so,
but it goes back to what you said before. I have to show up for my kids. First, what's really happening is you're showing up for yourself. And because you're showing up for yourself, now you get to show up for your kids as a strong mom, as a strong role model. So like a lot of people that don't get that concept, a lot of people, especially when they're new to fitness or new to, you know, making it a chore, like you talked about your to-do list. Like if I write a to-do list, it's more of a chore. We need to recognize that fitness isn't a chore. It's self-development. It's self-improvement. And it's not selfish to take care of yourself, because you're enabling yourself to help out others even better.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
So like, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that anymore, because I think that is just such a big point that people miss out on. Like they look at, okay, it's going to be hard. I got to do all this extra work. I got to do all this nutrition. Like there's so many rules about the fitness that they just can't see. They know where they want to go. They know where they want, you know, they want to see the achievement, but there's the gap. There's where they are right now with all the excuses and all the things and all the like legit, you know, like all the responsibilities that we already have. Then we have over here what we want. And there's this huge gap between the both. And I think the gap is really filled with the mindset. So how do you help your clients through that gap?
Okay. So thank you. You got me where I was trying to go. My thing that I have my clients do, and I do for myself, I still do, is I'm like, okay, you have the gap is a mile long. You take it one step at a time. You one step, and then you take 2 steps, and eventually you start walking, and then you start jogging, and then you can start running. Yes. So, you know, I tell people all the time, I think people see me and they think I've been doing this my whole life. And obviously I haven't. Or they see, you know, they see you and or see Dalton, they see all these individuals, they don't know their story, but they just see the outside and they don't know the work. And, you know, I have to remind them, like, I didn't start here. Right. I didn't start working out the way that I do now. I started with P90X because I'm crazy, but I started with P90X.
That is a tough program to start with.
It is so hard.
I think I did their yoga program, and that was about it.
I still teach it. I'm just saying.
How about that?
So you know, I said, start walking. You know, I was like, if you have injury, we need to address that. If you have, you know, if there's nutrition issues, we address it. We don't change your entire diet in one day. You're never going to stick with it. You don't run a mile in one day. You walk. You know, we get your body used to moving. And that's another thing I have to say I do when I'm feeling down like that. You asked how I push myself when I'm feeling down. I just sweat. If I feel that coming on, if I feel that heaviness, if I feel that depression or that anxiety, which I obviously have, then I just sweat. I might go for a run. I might box. I love boxing. That's like one of the things I do all the time. Just something to get your heart rate up and release that adrenaline, that fight or flight. I know you've talked about that too. Yes. So I talk about it all the time. Also, just fight or flight. Once you feel that building up in you, that is adrenaline that needs to be released, or you're going to explode. Yeah. So you've got to do it.
Angel, I love that about you. And I love, like, you know, just sweat. Like I'm a firm believer that we could change our state at any point. Like if we're feeling kind of low, if we're feeling depressed, I always talk about express. Like the opposite of depression is expression. It's not filling your head with happy thoughts. Like if you're trying to just fill your head with happy thoughts, all you're trying to do is like outthink negative thoughts, and you're just in the same place, and it never works. Right. But if we just like we just do something stupid, like it changes your state immediately. You cannot be depressed and expressive by barking or by yelling or by boxing, but just by getting your body to move. Yep. You can overcome these feelings of depression, anxiety, or whatnot.
Absolutely. That's why they say scream. You know, if you're feeling scream. Yes. if you need to cry, cry. I hate crying, by the way, but I had to learn how to do it. I had a friend who's like really meditative and yoga, and I'm still learning that, but he's like, cry. I was like, I don't want to cry.
So what I'm going to encourage, I'm going to give you a tip today, Angel, is I want you to research Osho dynamic meditation. And so this is expressive meditation. This is dance. This is screaming. This is shouting. This is doing all these different movements. And it's just totally radical. There's nothing
about that.
There's no set standard to it. You do what you want with it. But I like it as a form of meditation because I'm not just sitting there in my thoughts. I get to express, I get to do crazy shit. And I do it alone in my gym because I get loud first thing in the morning and you act a fool. Like you're out there in the BFE, so you got plenty of space to do this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I love it.
But yeah, for anybody watching too, it's Osho. I'll type it in the comments, but Osho dynamic meditation. Elliot Hulse does a really good video on it on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube, but yeah, I would highly encourage that for you. And anybody that suffers from anxiety and depression, I feel like, in the fitness industry, I feel like so many of us, started in that, with self-esteem issues, self-confidence, just having that lack and that, we get into fitness because it was a way to build ourselves. Like I always say, fitness is personal development underneath of a barbell.
Pretty much.
So, and I think anybody that's like really in tune with themselves, anybody who's really working on themselves in the barbell has some sort of anxiety, depression, or self-image issues that they started from in the first place.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. And what I've seen from other just athletes and friends in the fitness industry, or just individuals who lead a very fit lifestyle, it's definitely the case. Yeah. They're coming back from something. They're coming back from injury. They're coming back from car crashes. They're coming back from addiction. There's always a story behind it. So and I learned that at my show, like meeting the women that I met backstage. I was just blown away by some of the stories.
Yeah. And I tell you, that's why I put this show together, is so we can really discover people's stories. And you have an amazing one. And so like, everybody has a story, and we can all learn from each other. So I love that we could just recognize that, and that, when you're learning from other people, like we can always learn from others if we're willing to just open up and, and be receptive. Like that's what a growth mindset is. It's being like, a closed mindset is like, I know everything. I have my ways. I'm stubborn. And I used to be that person, by the way. And I still struggle with that negative mindset. So, but the growth mindset is, let me think, let me see what others' perspectives are. Let me learn from somebody else. Let me engage with people on Facebook rather than just looking at the feed for the next argument. Right? That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
Social media is fun. Let me tell you.
Sometimes I just get there and stir the pot, but that's all
I do stuff. I need to stop, but I do stuff on purpose just to instigate sometimes. So like, didn't you say this yesterday? I did.
There you go. That's so funny.
Sure did.
So I love it. So Angel, like we have covered a lot. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you really feel it's important for our viewers to know about you, to like your story? Anything that you want to dive in a little bit more on? One thing, and I see it's across the board, men do it too, but especially women. Don't compare yourself to anybody ever, and especially don't compare yourself to me. First of all, I don't want someone to have to go through anything terrible to get to where they need to be. If you can come to that realization that's on your own, that's great. But your story is unique and you should be proud of it. And what you see on social media about people is not who they are. So don't compare that. Don't try to be something that you can't be. You can only be a better version of yourself. I love that. Never compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20.
Exactly.
That's something I always say. And like the Instagram and the Facebook, like Instagram especially, it like all your fitness magazines that used to be popular out there, they were all airbrushed. Like, true story, when I worked at a gym in Fredericksburg, there was a photo shoot going on. The dude was in great shape. I'm not taking anything away from this dude, but to make his abs pop just a little bit more for the photo shoot, they took duct tape and they stretched it from one side to the other to pull his skin just a little bit tighter, had him flex, had him do all the stuff to make his abs pop just a little bit more for that photo shoot.
Yep.
Okay.
By the way, women do that in bodybuilding competitions too, just so you know.
There you go. So
ladies,
guys,
when you see all those photos, that's a lot of glue.
There's a lot
of glue.
There's the glue, there's the preparation H to withdraw more water from the skin. Yeah, you know this. I'm not telling any lies.
I didn't know until I got backstage. I was like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So stop comparing yourself to social media, guys. Stop comparing yourselves.
Absolutely.
And so I absolutely love that. So let's talk about you and your business a little bit, because I want to dive into this. And then guys, by the way, those of you who are watching, start posting any questions that you have for Angel, because we're going to touch on any questions, and I will go back to the feed and look at your questions, and we'll try to get those answers. So if you have questions, start posting them in the feed right now. But for you, Angel, because I know that you work with women with their health and fitness. I know that you work with them for, working through the issues of domestic violence and whatnot. And so, like, going back to, you overcoming it yourself, like, if somebody is like, man, I need Angel, like, first and foremost, like, how can they reach out to you? How can they find you, maybe on social media? And two, how would you be able to help them?
Well, first, just email or message on Facebook, business or personal. You can always reach out and message. Of course, personal if I'm not friends. I mean, I get it. So make sure you send me the friend request. Yeah, just reaching out, and it depends on what they're asking for. And, if they're looking for training, I always do consult calls and assessments.
Cool.
And those are always free. Sometimes I'm not the best trainer for them, and I'll refer them to someone who is. Maybe they need therapy services. Maybe, I do have connections with counselors and physical therapists, dietitians. Even though I do nutrition, I'm not a dietitian. So scope of practice is a big deal to me.
Right.
So I definitely can refer people to maybe where they do need more help. And if they're not local to me, I actually have some people that are nationwide, and if I don't know, I know someone who will know.
I love that, guys. It's such a huge community, and it's so, like, I just love that, like, you have all these connections. So, like, if someone's like, I'm really struggling mentally, they could still reach out to you, and you can point them in the right direction for maybe an online therapist or somebody maybe in their own neighborhood. So I love that. I love that. So guys, I'm going to pick up my phone here real quick. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Boom.
I'm surprised Amanda's not blowing you up.
I know. So, well, we have a lot of viewers here. So does anybody have any questions? Like, we still got like 15 minutes here, guys, that we can dedicate to you. So here's a funny comment. Well, I mean, we've got a few, but Selena said PRs after red waterfall. So Lordy. We got, don't compare chapter 45 to number 1. Boom. Let's see. So Amanda says she's here though. Oh, here we go. So we got a question from Dylan. So he asked, can I increase muscle mass and not give up my beer and chicken wing diet? You want to field that one?
Of course. Just don't expect it to look like a 6-pack.
So calories build mass.
Yeah.
Excess calories, it builds. Yeah. Now I will say, when it comes to the beer, alcohol does stun protein synthesis. So if you're somebody, like, when I look at people and what their goals are, I always look at what do they really want to achieve. Are they looking for, just general health and fitness? I want to keep up better with my kids. I want to be a little bit stronger. Or do I want to compete? Do I want to get on stage? Like, those are two different extreme goals. So if someone's like, hey, I just want to be healthy for my kids and for my lifestyle, I'm not going to cut beer out of your diet. I'm not going to cut chicken wings out of your diet. If
Right.
someone's really trying to optimize everything and be the best athlete that they can be, we're probably going to remove that stuff out of your diet. So know what your goals are and know what you really want, and that'll focus you in on, you know, what you should be doing versus what you shouldn't.
Actually, I agree completely. And when it comes to the alcohol and everything, my clients ask me that too, because of women, it tends to be wine. You know, can I drink wine? You know, that's something I have to consider because I actually don't drink very often. So it's not something I can go years without drinking and I don't care.
Yeah.
But some people like their wine. So I just kind of factor that in. I'm like, okay, 1 glass of wine a night. Cool. We're going to factor that into your calories, or we'll give them options that are lower in carbohydrate and calorie count.
Without a doubt, like if it fits into your macros, like wine, you know, tends to be more the carbohydrate based, like all the alcohols tend to be with the sugar and the barley and whatever, you know, resource you're getting it from. So, but yeah, if it fits into your macros, you will not gain fat by having a glass of wine. You will not gain fat by having chicken wings. It's if you eat in excess or you go in excess of your calories.
Yeah.
So
now if you're having wine with the Oreos, with the chicken wings, you're probably going to blow your calories.
Probably. It's very easy to blow calories with alcohol and chicken wings and Oreos. Absolutely. So be mindful of what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yep. So yes, Dylan, you can do that. Technically.
Let's see what else we got here. Says, so Selena giving you some props. She says, very courageous for you to walk away from a bad situation. Do you want to talk about the courage that it took for you to do that, Angel?
Actually, yes. So I will say this, because this is very real. The only way that I was able to is because I had tremendous support. Not every woman has that. So if someone is in that situation today, it's first of all very important for them to know that they have somewhere safe to go and they need to have that support. Nice. Because the reality is you're not going to do it alone. You have to have a way to get out. And me being courageous was just me having family and God, because that was really it. So it was, and it definitely was not, and it wasn't easy. It was years before the actual divorce was over. And then you still have to deal with the aftermath. So get help. Don't do it on your own, and reach out to someone you trust, whether it's a friend. You know, if you're in a situation, you have to let somebody know and make sure that you're safe.
I love that. And is this a reason why, like, you work with the dynamics of women who are, you know, are overcoming domestic violence and abuse and that kind of category? Is that because you want to be able to be kind of that safety net or that safe space for these women?
I think so. It kind of, it's turned into that. It wasn't even really what I started out doing. It just kind of became that when I started training. And that's another fun fact. I didn't even have any aspiration to be a trainer at all. It just happened from when I joined the gym, and then I loved P90X. So I got certified just for the fun of it, just for education. Boom. And then it just so happened that William had opened and he had lost all of his trainers. They were moving. Oh, wow. So he was like, he approached me and said, hey, would you consider training? And then it just turned into it, you know, just from, you connect with your people, and you become friends, and you build relationships. And I started realizing, I was like, every woman that I was working with was coming out of something. It may not have been abuse, but they were coming out of something. Yeah. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And there have been some situations where I've helped friends, and helped them leave situations that were dangerous for them. And I think they just needed someone that was strong enough to say, yeah, I've got your back. So
I think that's so important. And so, like, anytime that we are in a crisis, like they say, you're in one of three phases in your life. You're either in a crisis, you're coming out of a crisis, or you're headed towards a crisis. Like, those are our three phases in life. But we go through these situations, we go through these experiences, and I feel like it's because when we come out stronger on the other side, it's so that we can take that experience and help others. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's my whole perspective. Instead of saying, why me, why me, why me? It's like, what can I learn? What can I get out of this? How can I help somebody else through this as well?
Yep.
So
exactly. And I think it's important to, like you said, everyone has that why me.
mm-hmm.
Everyone has the why me.
Of course.
But something eventually, once you do the work, put in the effort, then it becomes the try me. And Eric Thomas, that wasn't me. That's Eric Thomas.
Oh, what?
Turn
why me into try me. Oh, I like that.
That's my guy. That's my other secret. I listen to him every day when I'm running. Eric Thomas every day.
Let's go into that, because positive mindset, positive mind feed, like positive resources. Like, what about this person who, like, you know, is so depressed, is so filled with anxiety, you know, just feels so alone, feels so trapped. Maybe they're people that are around them, maybe their own families are just constantly negative. Like, you just hit the nail on the head by mentioning Eric Thomas. Like, is that something that you do to just kind of help feed you every day positively?
I do. And I don't say every day like it's religious, because it's not, but
right.
I do try to get some form of education and knowledge in every day, whether it's a few minutes of listening to Eric Thomas or reading a book or reading scripture. Mm-hmm. Every day I'm doing something. And the other thing I do is I even though I post a lot about it, I don't turn my TV on during the day. My TV does not go on until I'm ready to stop.
I love that,
because it's just a time suck, and you lose yourself, and then before you know it, the day's gone and nothing gets accomplished.
Discipline through elimination. Yeah.
Yep. I turn the music on, I turn the motivations on, and that's what I listen to. My daughter is annoyed sometimes. She's like, what are you listening to?
Oh, dude, don't be people that walk into my gym and I'm listening to something motivational. They're like, this is good, but can we turn on music now?
William did that to me. Yeah, William did that to me. I was downstairs one day. He's like, what are you listening to?
I love that. So let's see if we have any more questions. Let's see. Oh, wait. Okay. We got something from Amanda. Cool. So Amanda's just giving you props. Basically talking about, you know, what is the name of the club that you guys, the Fit Club? Yeah, the Fit Club. I know. She wrote TFC. So I'm like, what is it again? Okay.
That's confusing. Yeah.
But she's giving you props. Like, she says that, you know, she's run into you several times at the Fit Club, and like, you are always supportive. You're always hyped. Like, you're always there to lend a hand, and just like, she's like, if you need a person, she's the person. Like, you guys can read the comments on here. She wrote a pretty long comment, so that'll be on here.
Okay, I'll go look.
But yeah. And then Selena, of course, with her smart ass comment, if you don't track, you don't know how you want to go about Oreos and wings. It's nobody else's business. So,
dude, I love her.
I know. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun household. Let me tell you
that. I'm surprised Amanda didn't say, like, I'm super excited when the girls get in the gym. Like, when the first time I met them, her and Dylan were downstairs. I was like, oh, he's looking cool. Hey. And then I recognized her before him.
Oh, yeah.
And she mentioned me, and I was like, wait, I'm Angel. And then when it connected, I like ran and hugged her. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, you're cool, Dylan. Amanda.
That's so awesome. That is like, I feel like that community is so important. And whether it's, you know, like, just going back to getting around positive people, like, there is a difference between having it all online. Like, we talk about Eric Thomas, we could talk about Gary Vaynerchuk, we could talk about, you know, even a lot of coaches that I personally work with are all remotely online. But there's something about environment and environmental exposure. I talk about this a lot. Being in the same room, feeling the energy, touching the hand, having that hug, sweating on each other if you're doing a workout or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yes, that personal interaction, like, nothing replaces the environmental exposure. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. And it's been hard for so many people this year. We all know that. Mm-hmm. It's been hard for me because this is, you know, for almost 4 years now, I've been with William and the Fit Club, and like, you guys have said before in this group, that's my family. And
Yes.
I absolutely love, I mean, when I walk in the gym, it's like everything just goes away.
Yeah.
You're carrying it and you open the door and it's just immediately, it's gone.
Love that. Love that.
And, you know, I'm still there a couple days a week, but
Mhm.
you know, it's not the same. You know, I can work out from home and I'm focused because I have that drive, but you just bring it to a whole new level when you surround yourself with other people.
I agree with that 100%. And so I know that you guys, you know, you conduct kind of some group sessions down there at the Fit Club. I know like at Mayhem, it's kind of like the Saturdays for us, you know, that kind of thing. But it's about the community and it's about the support and it's about just having that energy, just being with that energy. So if anybody is struggling, I would highly encourage you, like, especially if you're somebody who's like, yeah, but I prefer to train at home or whatever. Like you could do your great workouts at home.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong about that. But take once a month and get into an environment where it's just like it re-energizes you, it gets you stoked again, and then you take that with you. It's kind of like going to church every Sunday, right? Like you're fueled with the Spirit, you're like all amped up.
Yeah.
But it goes away, you know, as the week progresses, and Sunday you're in there again and you know you're recharged. So it's really the same thing.
Yeah, you got to recharge that social battery. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions. Angel needs to become strong woman. Jeff just said you got to do so let me ask you this. What is next for Angel? Yeah.
It's funny he says that. So I've shared that I was going to do another competition and it's looking more and more with everything in COVID that I'm probably not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's multiple reasons for that. And I have considered some strong woman stuff. So
you let me know when you're ready for that.
I actually love that. I love that more. That's kind of how I started. I started with sandbags and I started with slam balls and that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, you know, I'm about being strong. I'm not about a physique and I'm not about looking a certain way. It was fun. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do another bodybuilding competition. I might, but my focus is definitely more on just being healthy and stronger. And, you know, James isn't getting any smaller. So
he's like, right. So we got to be stronger just in case anything happens. I
Zerker carry him everywhere. So
I love it. I love it. Angel, it has been my pleasure. I think we're going to have to do a part 2 at some point because there's still so much that I want to uncover and dig deep with you and all that stuff. But this has been an absolute honor having you on the show today.
The honor is mine. I feel like this or something. Like, oh my gosh,
it's awesome.
I'm such a dork. Like I get so excited.
Well, no, I love it. I love it. So guys, please catch the replay on this. If you did not catch the beginning, we kind of missed the beginning with the recording, but on Facebook, you can definitely watch the entire replay from the beginning to the end. But just so much about Angel. Like if you need any help, reach out to her. And because I know that she is all heart. She is all heart. She's here giving her time. But guys, I don't know. Like I learned a lot. I think I'm going to be carrying up your, like the motivation that you've given me, I'm going to be carrying for quite a few days now. So I just absolutely love it. And guys, I will say that next week, we got another speaker coming on. Her name is Cassie Morgan. She's actually a previous client of mine. And we're going to be talking about her weight loss journey. So that is going to be a week from today. So next Wednesday at noon, we'll have Cassie Morgan on here. I think she lost like a total of 60 pounds, but she competed in strongman with me. I know that she's trying out to do like maybe some Highland Games. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's been in. I know. So we got.
Dang.
I know. So we're talking about women in strength. We got women lined up for the next couple. We got Kathy Phelps lined up where she competed in strongman, or strong woman, I should say, strong woman, as well as a disabled athlete. So guys, there's like no excuse. If you could take one lesson away from this episode, there's no excuses. There is, where there's a will, there is a way. Would you just touch on that as we close out, Angel?
Absolutely. Actually, I was actually going to say my thing I say all the time, I'm going to turn your excuse into your reason why. You know, if your excuse is I can't work out because I have kids, that's exactly why you need to be working out. I can't work out because I don't have time. this is your opportunity to learn time management. You've got to make this. There's a way to turn it, because I said it all. I've done it all. I can give you every reason, excuse in the book, and we'll fix it.
Angel, I love it. You got so many golden nuggets on this episode, guys. So I hope you'll go back, replay it, take notes the second go around. But Angel, thank you so much. This has been awesome. This has been awesome. Guys, and for all of you guys that tuned in, thank you very much for you all watching. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you for the questions. Come back next week and we will interview Cassie. Peace, love, strength, guys.
Bye.
I love it. So I'm going to end now.
Okay. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.